All right, we are live. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today we're going to be breaking down PFL World Championships. What are they calling it this time? PFL 2025 World Tournament First Round, Round 1. Someone needs to tell these people that less is more, because what the hell? They just can't stop themselves. PFL MENA, PFL Europe. Now we're doing PFL World Tournament Round 1. Just call it PFL. Literally, just call it PFL, and then you just add numbers next to it. Do what the UFC did. This is so absurd. Regardless, rant aside, we're going to break down these fights. We got 8 fights. It's been a while since we've seen the PFL. I think the last one was the Road to Dubai. It was the first card of the year. They did it early, and then since then, they haven't done anything at all. And here we are in April, and finally, we get some cards. Don Davis decided, you know what? Let me take a break from posting Nagano and John Jones posts. And, I won't give fights to my champions because why do that? But let's make some fights. Finally, he decided to make some fights. And here we are. And it's a decent card. It's only 8 fights. A few of them fell off. It is what it is. I actually kind of like next week's card a little bit better. And we're going to do a little preview, pre-tape preview at the end of this video. We'll just run through it, and I'll tell you guys if anything stands out. And as always, my bets, my notes, my breakdowns, you can get those on my Dub Club. It'll give you the link to my Discord. That's where everything is. But you can also just get them through Dub Club. Link in the description of this video. I do have one bet on this card so far. I've got a few bets that I'm targeting. And yeah, you can get all that there. Couch Warrior Pod is the promo code. I think we still have like a couple of those left that you guys could use. So make sure to use that if you are going to sign up. And if not, if you don't want to do that, but you do want to talk fights with me and some of the other guys in the Discord, we got 300 members in there, and there is a free section. Link to the Discord is also in the video. And let's do it. Let's hop right in. Let's do it. We got a couple people in the chat already. Grateful dude. Good to see you, brother. And Armin Crouch. What's up, Armin? So let's pull up the fights and let's get to it. I don't want to spend too much time on this. And there are some spots where I haven't fully taped yet. It's been a busy week. I just finished all my UFC notes recently. Oh, and I shared the wrong one. Okay, hold up. There we go. That's right. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, there's a couple fights that I haven't fully taped. I'll let you know when we get to those, as always. And yeah, let's jump into it. So first fight of the night, we've got, is this a little cut off on purpose, or? There we go. First fight of the night, we got Nathan Kelly versus Kyun Kim. Kelly, he's going to be 11-3-0, 27 years old, 5'8" with a 68-inch reach. Kim, 10-1-0. He's going to be 31. He's 4 years older. He's going to be 3 inches taller, and we don't have his reach. So, interesting fight. I do like Kim here. I don't dislike Kelly or anything like that. I think he's a solid fighter. I think he's a fine fighter. At 27 years old, I think that there's still some work to be done, but he's on the right track. I don't know if he'll ever be like a world champ, but he's a good fighter, and he'll do good things in his career. He's relatively well-rounded. He's pretty hittable. He does seem like, I don't want to say he's gassy, because I don't think he's gassy, but he does slow down if the pace is heavy. If he's getting pushed a little bit, you see him slow down. It wasn't just his last fight against what's the fella's name? Ahmed Magomedov, but he also slowed down in the Damian Anderson fight, the one other fight where he really got any kind of adversity, other than his fights early on in his career where he had the 2 losses, but that was so long ago. So he hasn't faced a lot of adversity, but when he does, he tends to slow down a little bit. I'd say that he's strongest in the grappling. His wrestling is fine. I don't think it's special or amazing, but it's decent. It'll work on a decent amount of people, maybe not the higher level guys, but it'll work to an extent. His submission grappling is good. The jiu-jitsu is good. He's very opportunistic with the subs. He's quick to lock them in. So I'll give him that. And the striking is serviceable. It's enough to kind of set up the grappling, not really enough to win a lot of fights on the feet against high level guys, but enough to kind of set up the wrestling and get his actual game going. And then with Kim, I wasn't super familiar with him. He hasn't fought in a while. Well, he did fight last year. He had one fight. But then before that, the last fight was 2022, I think. Yeah, against Roman Bogatov. If you don't remember Roman fought in the UFC one time against Leonardo Santos. We're talking COVID times, I think, 2020. And it was a fight where, if I'm not mistaken, Bogatov was winning that fight, but he did like so many illegal moves. I don't even remember all of them. He like grabbed the fence. I think he hit him in the groin. Might have eye poked him too. He did like everything, and he lost, I think, not 1 point, but he lost 2 points, and he ended up losing that fight. And then the UFC cut him. Dana was like, "Yeah, screw that guy." But Bogota was actually pretty good. And Kim had that fight with him. It was a 5-rounder, and Kim did pretty good. He did a pretty good job. Yeah, he lost, but Bogatov is a really strong wrestler. And I know he's outside of the UFC and all of that, but he is a really good wrestler, good top control, good grappler. And Kim was able to stuff a lot of the takedowns. And that's not the first Russian he's fought. He's got some good wins over here. You might notice Hussein Kadimogayev here. He fought in the PFL last year towards the end, I think. And he was like a -700 or 1,000 favorite, and he lost. I remember that fight because I played the over, and part of my reasoning was I felt like low-key the underdog had a shot. Didn't have the balls to take the dog shot, but I did play that over. That cashed. And get this, Hussein, he lost that fight, and then they overturned it. I don't even know why, but it smells stinky to me. They wanted to keep that record intact. But regardless, Kim did finish him, and Kim's a good striker. He's a good striker. He's a southpaw. He uses it well. He uses that jab well. Solid kicks, good leg kicks, good combinations. He's got some power, even though he doesn't look like the hardest hitter. And like I said, the takedown defense is very good. The scrambling, the get-up game is very good. He's very dangerous off of his back. He throws up submissions of his own. I don't always love that because sometimes people get too comfortable and then they'll stay on their back trying to throw up those subs and do all that. But honestly, he uses it. He'll either threaten it and try to lock it up, or he'll threaten it and then try to use it to get back up onto his feet. And I just think that he kind of has Kelly covered here. He's the better striker. He's got the takedown defense to keep it on the feet. He's got good jiu-jitsu of his own. He's got the better cardio for sure. If anybody's going to gas here, it's going to be Kelly. And Kim is a guy who does get a lot of late finishes and is a guy who does melt people. And he could possibly melt Kelly here. I think that the round 2, the round 3 props on Kim aren't bad. They're like plus I think round 3 is like plus 16 or 1,800, and then round 2 is like plus 1,100. Those are pretty nice. I think if it does happen, it'll be later. I didn't play it. Limits are crap, and I don't know if I want to go that far yet. But overall, I do like him to win this fight. My only worry is the inactivity. I worry a lot about inactivity. I feel like it's a big problem for a lot of fighters, and he is relatively inactive. He did have that one fight in 2024, but then he had that long layoff before that, and I just don't know why. So because of that, I'm a little, concerned, but I do think that Kim could be a moderately, I think he could be a more heavy favorite than he is. I mean, it's essentially a pick 'em now, which I think is probably incorrect. And I do think that Kim should win this fight unless the layoffs have really messed with him. So I do like Kim here, and we can move on. My guy Dogfather in the chat. What's up, dog? All right, moving on. Oh boy, we got Giannis Bachar versus Masayuki Kikuiri. Giannis, he's 9-2-0, 6'1" with a 72-inch reach. Don't have his age. On the other side, I'm going to call him Kiku. Kiku's 10-2-1. He's 29. He's going to be 1 inch shorter, but they did look about the same height at face-offs. Maybe it's the shoes. I don't know. And then he's got a 1.5 inch reach advantage. So this one's interesting. If you guys remember, Giannis, he fought on the Ultimate Fighter. Got knocked out within seconds against Valentin. I think it was a elbow. Pretty sure it was an elbow that put him out, but he got cooked pretty quickly. And then going into this fight, I wasn't really familiar with Kiku. I know Giannis a decent bit, and I know that he's a powerful guy. I didn't remember him super well because I'll get to it in a sec. I thought he was better than kind of the tape showed. But I taped Kiku first, and I don't know what it is. I can't place it. I can't tell you exactly what the problem is. But I have some kind of issue with him. I just feel like he's like, I don't know. Like, at first I said fragile, but he's not really fragile because he's not really like getting hurt all the time and stuff like that. He has been knocked out by a pretty low caliber guy, but that was like 2020 and he was young, so you can put that aside. But there's just something about him that tells me this dude could get cooked, and he can get cooked fast. Like, he can get caught by something and just put out. And I could be completely wrong. It's just a gut feeling and what came with my read of when I was watching it. But he's solid. Like, he's not a bad fighter by any means. He's pretty good everywhere. He's a solid striker. I'd say that he's primarily a striker. He's got some grappling that he can mix in here and there, but he's knocking guys out, and he just doesn't look like a guy who can knock people out, but clearly he can. He's coming off of 2 knockout wins back-to-back. Herman Tirado, Shurkevich, and then that was a decision, right? And then you can go back and back, but He's solid. He's primarily a southpaw. From what I saw, he does switch stances, but he will fight out of southpaw. And he's just a solid striker. I don't think he's anything to write home about, but he's a solid fighter, decently well-rounded. He could grapple a little bit. And then with Giannis, it's like, first of all, I've seen him fight a couple of southpaws now. And you've probably heard this in many breakdowns of mine and other people's in the past, where, you know, if you're a leg kicker or if you're a fighter who likes leg kicks and you fight orthodox, it's a little harder once they switch. If you're fighting somebody southpaw or somebody who switches to southpaw, because then you're kind of limited. You can only do inside calf kicks, or you can do it with the lead leg. But when you do it with the lead leg, you're throwing yourself off balance. And it's just a very awkward position. So it's not really something you see a lot. And only really, really high-level guys kind of get away with it. But this dude, Giannis, he just insists on throwing leg kicks against these southpaws. And I've seen it now. O'Meal Brown, I know he knocked out Brown, but up until that point, Brown was kind of beating up on him. And this is Giannis. He's got his guard up completely, still getting hit, but it's up there as if he's boxing. And then he's just throwing these naked leg kicks completely off balance with the lead leg. And it's just like, dude, what on earth are you doing? You're off balance. You're leaving yourself completely open to counters. And anybody with any sense of power can just throw you off balance with a simple combination. So that was kind of concerning to see. Like, it happened with Brown. It happened with Pedersoli. The Pedersoli fight was very weird. He was getting taken down a ton on the feet. He did okay, but then eventually Pedersoli just broke, and Giannis just was able to get the finish and was able to win. I think it was ground and pound that he got the job done with. But I really wanted to back him here. Like, I really did at plus money. And like, I still possibly could, depending what happens with the line movement. I know PFL can get real crazy with it. All day today. It's been going back and forth. Tomorrow, I think it's going to get even crazier. So maybe if I get something nuts, right? Like, I'd probably want like plus 200 if I'm going to back Giannis, because I think he's an ape. I think he's kind of like, he's a guy he'll fight through adversity. He has relatively decent cardio, even though he seems like he gets tired, and he'll take the worst of it and then just give it back. And he does seem to hit really hard. I think he's the harder hitter out of the two of them. So I could get to like a plus 200 play, but at the current line, I just can't do it because his fight IQ seems bad. Overall, his game just doesn't seem very good to me. And he's not super well-rounded. Like, he doesn't really have any offensive grappling. He can be taken down in his own right. And if I'm being real, even though I have a weird gut feeling about Kiku, I think he should probably be able to beat Giannis here. So I'm just going to stay away. And then if something happens crazy with the line, then I'll hop in and I'll get involved. But otherwise, I'm good. Next up, we got Gabriel Braga versus Frederik Dupras. Braga, 15-2-0, 26 years old, 5'9" with the 72-inch reach. Frederik on the other side, he's going to be 8-1-0. He is, I believe he's 30 years old or 31. I just saw the tail of the tape on his last fight. He's 5'9" as well, and he's going to be giving up 4 inches in reach. So not a lot of information on Dupras. Most of his fights are behind paywalls, and normally I would consider paying up for it if I thought maybe I can get a play out of it. But I mean, they're all it's all first round finishes. Like, literally every fight behind that. I mean, all his fights are first round finishes except one against his last one. Who was it? Arnett. Sorry, Jesse Arnett. So that was in the second round. Everything else is in the first round. So, and like, the records of these guys are crap. So am I going to go pay money to watch 30 seconds of him submitting a guy with a front choke or something? No, I don't have much interest. But I did watch what I could, the Arnett fight, the older fights, whatever was available. And like, he seems fine. I also want to talk about, like, if you watch the Arnett fight, the commentary is talking about Arnett like he's some kind of former UFC champion or something. They're like saying like he's a extremely high level world guy, champ level guy. And they're just saying all this stuff about Arnett. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I know him pretty well. I've seen him fight before, and I don't share that sentiment at all. And I mean, the record doesn't reflect it either. And he was like 40 years old in that fight against Dupras. But, you know, from what I could see, Dupras looks pretty good. I mean, I don't know what he'll look like in the third round because it's never happened. I don't know what he'll look like in an extended second round because it's also never happened. All the finishes are all the wins are not all the losses too. Every fight except the Arnett fight ends in the first. The Arnett fight ends early in the second. From what I can understand, He seems to be a decent striker. He's fighting out of southpaw stance. He's not a bad striker by any means. I don't know if he can do it over 15 minutes because I haven't seen it, so I can't assume anything. But he does seem like a solid striker. He seems like he's got pretty good wrestling, but nothing too special. I mean, he kind of struggled to take down Arnett. He kind of struggled to take down, who was it? It was a fight before this, I think. I forget the guy's name, but the guy's like 6'9" and he kind of struggled to take him down at first too. So the wrestling doesn't seem to be amazing. Seems like he's a decent wrestler, and clearly he's a very dangerous jiu-jitsu grappler. So maybe he's got like good front chokes he can lock in, but I just don't know how that's going to work against Braga. Braga's not really a guy who's going to come in here and shoot takedowns. I mean, if he's uncomfortable or if he feels like he needs to lock in a takedown to solidify a round, he'll do it. Braga's very well rounded, so he can do it. But he's a striker. He's primarily a striker. He's a very good one. He's got some power. He's got nice combinations, good output. He's very smart. You can see he has good fight IQ. He's a really solid fighter, and he's probably one of the favorites to win the tournament. So I have to think he probably beats Dupras just because I know more about him. I know he's a better striker. I know he has very good takedown defense. I'm pretty sure he's got good submission defense. So I think he probably wins, but he's like minus 500, minus 600. And not knowing much about Dupras, am I going to come out here and lay the chalk on Braga and throw him in a parlay? No, absolutely not. If anything, you guys know me. I see that plus 440, plus 500, and I'm going to go and try to figure out a case for it and see if I should put my money behind him. And I kind of want to do it. He's a major unknown, but that's kind of the beauty of PFL. That's why I've had success with PFL. It's the big underdogs cash very often because it's high volatility, and this could be a very volatile fight. It would be a huge upset. It would be a bigger upset than the odds would really suggest because Dupras is a relative unknown, first time in the PFL, primarily fighting in Canada, and Braga's a guy who was in the semifinals in 2023, I believe it was. And then last year, was it the finals that he lost to Kikuiri? I don't remember off the top of my head, but regardless, he's a guy who's been fighting at a high level in the PFL and been performing very well. And now he's fighting this guy, Dupras. If Dupras comes out here and subs him, it would be a huge upset. And I'm thinking about it. But for now, I'm going to stay away. I'm going to see what the props open up on it because they haven't released props yet because this was not their original matchup. I forget who Braga was supposed to fight. Let me check if I could see it. Landu, right? Yeah, he was supposed to fight Landu, and Dupras was supposed to fight Nathan Garib. So this is a short notice replacement for both guys, different matchup for both guys. But ultimately, I think Braga should be fine, and we'll see what they give me for props and submission props on Dupras. And if it's something crazy, I would take a shot on maybe his sub or his round one. But if I'm being real, Braga probably gets it done. Next up, we got a really good fight. We have Mukhamed Berkhamov versus Thad Jean. Berkhamov, 17-2-0, 31 years old, 6 feet tall with a 73-inch reach. Thad Jean on the other side, 8-0, undefeated. He's 26, so he's 5 years younger. He's going to be 2 inches taller, and he's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. So I've always been really high on Thad Jean. He's a very athletic guy, naturally gifted, huge for the division, hits very hard. And he's a good striker. He's well-rounded. He could grapple if he needs to. He's got very good takedown defense. He's a well-rounded guy and a guy who I'm very high on in general. He's only 26 years old. We're going to see rapid improvements from the guy. And I've been very high on him. I mean, when he fought Alequin, he was minus 300, and I just laid the minus 300. I didn't parlay anything. I just put it on him. That was the first time, and whatever. But I laid the chalk on him there at minus 300 and it came through. So I've always been high on him. I just feel like this line's kind of wide, and I know a lot of people are on Thad Jean. I know a lot of people in my circle are on Thad Jean, and I can understand why. Berkhamov came in with a lot of hype. He's kind of underperformed. This was a no contest, right? So here he was kind of losing to Larkin, and then it was a no contest because of the back of the head, elbows, and then he gets knocked out by Larkin in the next one, and everybody who was trying to fade him finally cashed. And then people are kind of low on him now still because the Cooper fight was like not the best performance. And then the Tirado fight didn't really separate all that much. So I get why people aren't crazy about him. But to me, this is probably a step up. I mean, Thad Jean's last fight, Chris Brown. Before that, Romain Debien, Ali Omar. Like, None of them are good other than Chris. They're fine. Like none, like some of these people aren't bad. Like Aliquin's not bad. Chris Brown is pretty good, but I just feel like this is a step up. And while I do think that Gene has good takedown defense, he hasn't really fought a very good wrestler or even like a pretty good wrestler. He hasn't really done that. And I think that Berkhamov is a good wrestler. I know that sometimes he's striking more than he's grappling, but he can wrestle, and he's a good wrestler in my opinion. He's got good submission grappling too. He threatens the subs here and there, and then his striking's solid too. He's not, you know, a top level boxer, but he's a good striker. I wouldn't come out here and say like Berkhamov can't strike. He can definitely strike. He's a well-rounded dude with good grappling, with good striking. And I just think that it's a big step up for Gene, and we're making Gene a minus 230, minus 250, whatever it is. I think it's a bit too much too soon. Not that I'm saying he's going to lose. I'm just saying that I think the line is too wide, and I think Berkhamov can win. I haven't played anything yet, but I might get to a Berkhamov play. I might play it small, maybe like a half unit. I'm going to feel it out and kind of decide for myself because I'm high on Gene, and I don't necessarily want to fade him. He's not somebody who I look at and I'm like, I can't wait to fade this guy. No, I don't really want to fade him, but if you're going to make him minus 250 or higher against a guy who I think is pretty good too, and probably a step up to compared to his earlier competition, I'm going to be probably interested. And then the other thing is I kind of like the over 1.5. I haven't done anything with it yet either, but minus 175, like, yeah, I get it. It's a little gross, and Larkin did put Berkhamov away. Larkin's a little older, and Gene does hit hard, but I don't really think that Gene's going to knock him out early. I think that Gene might land some big shots, but I'd say overall, Berkhamov is a pretty durable guy. Larkin is a beast, even at his age. Like, the dude hits very hard, and I don't really blame Berkhamov too much for getting finished there. And I just don't I don't see him as chinny. I don't see him as like frail. I think that he can take the shots. I think that there's going to be some cage pushing because Berkhamov's going to go for those takedowns, and Thad's going to probably stuff a lot of them early. So the cage pushing, I think, will cut some of that clock. I think if Berkhamov does get some takedowns, that's going to cut some of the clock. And then just on the feet, like I think Berkhamov will survive. And I think that I personally lean towards this fight going the distance. I think it goes all 3 rounds, regardless of who wins. I think they win by decision. And because of that, kind of like that over. I know it's chalky, and I try to stay away from those because they have hurt me in the past, but I kind of like that spot. I just haven't played it yet. But I'll pick Thad Gene just based off of youth, athleticism, higher ceiling, more power, and good enough takedown defense where he can probably keep it on the feet. And he has good cardio, even though he's big and explosive. So I'll pick Thad to win, but I think the line is a little bit crazy. After that, we got Jeremy Kennedy versus Movlid Khaybulaev. Kennedy 19-5-0, 32. He's 5'11" with a 71-inch reach. Khaybulaev 21-0-1, 34. He's 2 years older. He's going to be, apparently he's 5 inches shorter. He didn't look that much shorter at the face-offs, but I guess. And then he's given up 1 inch in reach. So this, I said in the beginning of the video, I haven't taped all these fights, and this is one of the ones that I did not tape yet. I know both of them pretty damn well because I've broken down PFL every single year, and same with Bellator. So I know them well. And I don't really see a path for Kennedy. I mean, Movlid's been out for, what is it now? Almost 2 years. So that's a concern. Like I said earlier in the video, to me, inactivity is a big deal, and I don't know why Movlid's been out. So that is a concern for me. That is something that I don't like to see with a minus 600 favorite with Movlid. But as much as I like Kennedy in general, I think he's a great fighter. I think he's well-rounded. I think that he's a, he's a solid dude. I don't really know how he beats Movlid. He doesn't have the power to knock him out. He doesn't have the submission grappling to sub him. He doesn't have the wrestling to take him down and beat him by decision. And he doesn't have the striking or the take. He's got decent takedown defense, but I don't think he's going to stuff Movlid's takedowns if Movlid goes for it. So overall, pre-tape, I think Movlid should roll, and I do have it in my notes to maybe target Movlid by decision. I saw it's like at Pick'em. I don't hate that. I know that some people are looking for the finish because Kennedy can be finished. We've seen him kind of get broken by Pitbull in the title fight. He got knocked out in the third. And maybe Movlid can catch him in a sub because he does have a really tricky submission grappling game. And Kennedy can kind of stick his neck out sometimes when he's like wrestling offensively. So I can understand it, but if you made me make a play right now, it would be Movlid decision. And in terms of a pick, I will pick Movlid. All right, moving on. We've got Logan Storley versus Joseph Luciano. This is Storley's second opponent. I think he was supposed to fight Umilatov, and then this is Luciano's third opponent, I'm pretty sure, because he was originally supposed to fight. Who was he supposed to fight? He was supposed to fight Thad Jean. Berkhamov was supposed to fight Florem Zendelli. Zendelli falls out. Jean goes to fight Berkhamov. Luciano ends up fighting Surek Shields. I love Surek Shields. And then today, I think it was today, Umilatov misses weight, gets cut from the tournament, and Luciano now goes to fight Storley, and Shields gets thrown away, unfortunately. But I like this matchup. I like this fight. We got Logan Storley, 16-3-0, 32 years old. He's going to be 5'9" with a 71.5-inch reach. And then on the other side with Luciano, he's 10-2-0. He's going to be 6'1", so he is quite a bit taller. He's going to be about 4 inches taller. Don't have his reach, and he is training out of Australia. So I kind of want to play Luciano. If you watch my stuff, if you've been watching me for a while, you know I'm kind of high on him. I did play him against Josh Hill at Chalk, and he was kind of losing at first. He was getting taken down a bit, and then he was able to get it done. I think it was the second round, if I'm not mistaken. He subbed him, right? Yeah, he subbed him in the second round. And I forgot where I was going with it. But regardless, I like the dude a lot. I've been high on him. Oh, yeah. And then when what's his face was fighting, when Mikhaylov was fighting against Jusei recently, I was talking about how the win over Luciano was probably a better win than anything that Jusei had in the UFC. And I still stand by that. And I think this is really interesting because Storley is a really good wrestler. He's a solid striker, a serviceable striker to the point where he can set up the takedowns and not panic shoot. He's got good takedown defense. He's got good cardio. He had a very competitive fight the first time he fought my guy Yaroslav Amosov. Then he lost the second time pretty dominantly, but at least I think I got that right. It was competitive the first, dominant the second, pretty sure. But you know, recently he hasn't looked all that great. I didn't think he looked that great in the Pakli fight. I mean, he got cooked against Musayev, and I parlayed him against Musayev because I was like, from the regional tape we have on Musayev, this guy can't stuff takedowns, and Storley can wrestle, so let me parlay him. Little did I know, Musayev's like the best thing since sliced bread, apparently, and dude is a monster. I don't know why he's not competing in the tournament, but it's a whole nother rant for a whole nother day. I don't know how much more I can rant about Don Davis, but what I have been noticing is Storley seems less ripped, I don't want to say out of shape, because I mean, compared to me, the dude's a Greek god, but he does seem like he's filled up a little bit. He's a little bit flabbier, a little bit less explosive, a little bit less, just a little less good. But he's 32, so he shouldn't be washed yet, and he shouldn't be anywhere near washed yet. And I wouldn't call him that. I just think that he's declined a little bit. And with Luciano, I really like the dude's game. He can be taken down, but he scrambles very well. I'd say that initially his takedown defense is pretty solid, though, and his get-ups are good, and he is a good submission grappler. He can get his own takedowns. I don't know if that's going to happen here because Storley is a really good wrestler. But, like, on the feet, who's better? I don't really think either guy's that much better than the other. I think it's close on the feet. Luciano's bigger, maybe hits a little bit harder. And then Storley's a better pure wrestler. I think Luciano's got the better pure jiu-jitsu, though. I think this can get really interesting. I haven't gotten to a play yet. This is on my list of fights to really look into a bit more and really think about it. But Luciano right now, he's sitting plus 220, I think, plus 210. I kind of like it. I kind of like it. I might do it. We'll see. Like I said earlier, if you want my bets, my notes, my breakdowns, that's all behind a paywall now. Dub Club. You can get the link in the description of this video. Couch Warrior Pod is the promo code. That should get you 20% off on the first month. And yeah, I might get there. I really might. I'm going to try to convince myself, and we'll see what happens. Local Man Shakes Fist. What's up, brother? Good to see you. It's probably close on the feet, but it won't be on the feet very long. Yeah. I mean, realistically, Storley probably just takes him down, rinses and repeats for 15 minutes, but I don't think it's going to be super easy for him, and I think it could play out pretty close. So that's a spot I'm thinking about, and I saw the over is like minus 300. Could probably parlay that, honestly. I don't think either guy's getting a finish here, and maybe I will. All right, next up, this is already the co-main. Oh shit. Okay. Next up, we got the co-main event. We got Jesus Pinedo versus Adam Borics. Pinedo, 23, 6-1, 28 years old. He's 6 feet tall at the 74-inch reach. Borics, 19, 2-0. He's 31. He's 3 years older. He's going to be 1 inch shorter, and he's at a 3-inch reach disadvantage. So before I break this down, let's see what we got. Dog saying Storley can't finish a bag of chips. I mean, considering what's happened with his physique, I think he's finishing a lot of bags of chips, personally. Luciano finish only probably should be favored, but in decisions, it's just really lopsided. Yeah, you're probably right, I guess. But all right, I think this fight's awesome. I think this is probably up there for the highest level fight on the card. And in terms of entertainment value, it probably is the most entertaining fight on the card. I'm high on both of these guys. I think they're both really good. Now, going into it, I think I was like a lot of people where I kind of remembered Pinedo as this, because he's been out for a minute. I mean, he's been out for a year and a half, I guess, not even. And, you know, Boric hasn't been out that much longer, but Pinedo just hasn't competed since the 2023 tournament. But I kind of remembered him as being this guy who's just coming forward, coming forward, coming forward, coming forward. And then I run his tape and he does the opposite. Like, my memory couldn't be more wrong. And everybody's talking about him like he's this forward pressure guy. And I thought they were right. And then I'm taping it and he's off the back foot almost all his fights. Braga, when he won, off the back foot the entire time. Bubba Jenkins, not so much. There he was going forward, sure. Loughnane on the back foot. Braga lost on the back foot. Like, this guy's on the back foot. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing for him because he does really well off the back foot. He does a great job, and I love how he's always filling the space, and he'll collar tie or he'll clinch up, and he'll just land a bunch of punches. He'll mix up the combos. He'll go to the body, and then he'll throw a knee up there too. I love it. But I can't sit here and pretend like he's this nonstop forward pressure guy, because even though that's off memory what I thought he was, that's not what he is. He's a guy who can take a lot of shots. He will fight off the back foot, but he's a really good striker. And even though he's a long rangey guy, he doesn't really look to use that range all that much. He does use some kicks, but primarily he's looking to just strike up close. He's looking to lock up the collar tie and just start punching you. He'll go to the body really well. I love how he targets the body, and I'm a huge fan of Pinedo. I really like his style. I backed him against Braga, I think both times. Definitely the second time. I think the first when he lost also. I'm pretty sure I tried to fade him with Bubba. That didn't go very well, did it? But overall, I've always been high on him. And then same with Boric. I've always thought Boric is very good. And I can see where people are coming from. I think there's two good points here. The first one is, you know, you look at the Barzola fight, and he did start to slow down pretty big there. And Barzola is a smaller guy. He's a guy who fought at bantamweight, but he is a guy who pushes the pace nonstop. He's a pace pusher. He's a guy with great cardio, and he breaks people. And he didn't break Boric, but he did slow him down big time. He did have a lot more success as the fight progressed. So Boric, he does struggle a little bit with a lot of pressure, a lot of pace. And then he also struggles a little bit up close, and I think that's more relevant here. You look at the fight with him and Mads Burnell. Mads Burnell. And whenever they're in the pocket, Mads had a lot of success. Whenever they're up close, Boric got a little bit uncomfortable. It looked like he needed the range to feel comfortable to land his shots and his combinations. And then whenever Mads Burnell could close the distance and get into in the pocket or in boxing range, he had a ton of success. So you put those two fights together, the Burnell fight and the Barzola fight, and I know Boric won those, but I'm just pointing out things he struggled with. Pinedo will push the pace, even off the back foot. He will push the pace, and it's not like he's always on the back foot. Like, he could move forwards, and he also is very dangerous in the pocket, very dangerous in the clinch, really good knees, really good elbows. And he just knows how to land those shots, and he's always filling the space. He's got really good output. So I do like Pinedo here. I like Pinedo to win. I haven't bet on it yet. I've been just kind of letting the line do its thing, because I almost pulled the trigger at -160. Then it flew up to like 180, 170. Now it's back down to -150. And now I'm starting to really think about it. But at the same time, I think Boric is really good too, you know, and could I see a world where Boric is the one moving forward and Pinedo continues to be on the back foot, and Boric it's a close fight, but at range, he lands the better shots, and the judges ultimately give it to the guy who is on the front foot, backing his opponent up. I wouldn't be shocked. So that's why I'm kind of just waiting. And if the line gets a little bit tighter, then I'll probably get involved, because I do think Pinedo wins this fight more often than not. I just think that I would prefer a slightly less chalky line, considering I do rate Borics pretty highly. All right, and then we're up to the main event. So this is the other fight that I have not taped yet, not extensively at least. I did a little bit. We have Jason Jackson versus Andrey Koreshkov. Jackson 18-5-0. He's going to be 6 foot 34 years old, 6'1" with a 78.5-inch reach. Koreshkov 28-5-0, 34 as well. He's going to be the same height, but he's given up 3 inches in reach. So I like Jackson to win. I think it's a close fight though, so the -210 doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I know they're both the same age, but I feel like Koreshkov is maybe not washed, but like a little bit more damaged at this point. He's a little bit more on the decline than Jackson is. And I think that the fight's probably going to be close everywhere. The better offensive wrestler is probably Koreshkov, but Jackson does have really good takedown defense. Jackson is really good in the clinch, so he could punish Koreshkov for failed takedown attempts. And then at range, I do favor Jackson a little bit. I know he just lost to, what's his face? Ramazan Kurmagomedov. Really wish I played Ramazan there. I eyed it, and then I chickened out because I was sure that Amasov would be Jason Jackson. I laid the chalk there and lost that one pretty miserably. So then I was nervous to fade him here, and he finally lost. But Koreshkov isn't a wrestler like that. If anything, Koreshkov can get taken down too. So, and he's far out of his prime, in my opinion. So, like I said, this is a fight that I still need to tape. But pre-tape, I lean Jackson, but I also lean towards the line being a bit too wide, because -228 seems a bit much. It was -180 earlier, and I was like, maybe I should click and then tape, but I hesitated, decided to tape first, and I haven't even got to tape yet, and the line's already blasted. So I'll probably end up staying away, but I do like Jackson to get the win pre-tape. And what's up, 6 now? Good to see you, brother. But that's it, guys. That's PFL. What's the name of this damn thing again? PFL 2025 World Tournament, first round 1. Oh, for the love of God. Okay. And then the picks. Kim, Kiku, Badogger Pass, Braga, Gene, Badogger Pass at this line, Movlid, Storley, Badogger Pass, Pinedo, and Jackson, but I need to tape more. And then I did say that I wanted to preview the next card real quick. So let's do that now. I haven't taped any of the fights for the next one. So this is just going to be like a quick preview, and we'll go through it, and then I'll let you guys know what I think. Okay, so let's see. Not familiar with Shakalova. I feel she's fought in the PFL before, right? In Bellator, right, against Diana Silva and then Aspen Ladd, but I don't remember her, so I can't really pretend. I remember Orozco, not super high on her. Newsy Matos, that should be a fun fight. I lean towards the Newsy side there, but should be really good. I don't know who Elora Dana is. I'm not familiar. Yeah, it seems like she's a Brazilian lady, 2022 debut. Don't know much about her. I know Afsaragova is okay. She's like not great, but she's okay. Zebinzui Ruiz versus Ali Taleb. Taleb's a beast, but I don't remember Ruiz too well. What was his last fight? I feel like I vaguely remember this, but not enough. But other than that, yeah, I don't remember him too well, so I can't say much there. Carmouche should be Joanne. I'm fairly confident there. Bishop Watanabe is going to be interesting. I don't have much of a take there pre-tape. Kieran Clark versus Kasumov. Also don't have much of a take yet. I guess I lean Kasumov, but again, I also don't remember much about them. I feel like Hamidov's going to beat Hadley's ass. That I feel like. I feel like Hamidov's going to beat him. And it's kind of crazy that Hadley got cut after one loss in the UFC when he lost to who's the fellow who got knocked out by the Greek guy in the Contender Series? What's his name again? He's pretty good. Smotherman. And then Santos Velasquez. That's another good fight. I lean the Santos side pre-tape. And then Higo Rettinghouse is kind of cool. If you guys don't know Rettinghouse, he fought on the Ultimate Fighter same season as Brady. He stand, and he lost to Brady. I thought it was a robbery, low key. I thought Rettinghouse won, and they were like training partners before the show, so it was like a big deal that they were fighting each other. And he's pretty good. I haven't seen him fighting in pretty much since then. It seems like he's been pretty active, getting wins. I mean, he is fighting a guy who's 1-4, but he didn't knock him out in less than a minute, so that's good. Yeah, so I haven't seen him fight since the Ultimate Fighter, but he's a solid, well-rounded guy. But he goes fought at the higher level. Higo is very well-rounded. Higo's a dangerous grappler, so I lean towards the Higo side there. But I do like this card better than the one that we're getting tomorrow. But still have a lot of tape to do before I can give any real opinions. And then let's see what's going on in the chat. Six Hound saying Koreshkov looked so washed besides the Goiti fight. Yeah, I'm not really interested in the dog shot there. Huh, did they? I mean, it's possible they didn't update it yet. And maybe instead of Ruiz, it'll be Lap. That would be fun. That's a good fight. I know people don't love Lapalus in terms of like entertainment value, but he's so good. And so is Taleb. So that'd be a really good fight. Let's see. Kieran Clark versus Kasumov. That's a really good one. Yeah. And then Local Man Shakes Fist. What happened to Magomedov? Which one? On this card? Oh, Magomedov. I don't know. Looks like he withdrew for some reason. On Six Hound saying that Lapalus and Taleb is going to be on PFL Europe. Oh, so I guess they just haven't taken this off yet. Okay. What's on that card? Ooh, that's fun. This one's good right here. Nice. All right. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Good luck tomorrow if you got any bets going on. And like I said, my bets, my notes, my breakdowns, it's all in my Discord, my Dub Club. Links in the description of this video. Couch Warrior Pod for the promo code. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, retweet if you're on Twitter. It helps a lot. Thank you guys. Peace out and good luck.